We got this request in our comments section. Is there a quick way for mixing variegated oil paint, and she puts in parentheses, or stripes of, say, yellow and a green, and then the way Richard Schmid paints? That is just a little technical thing. I think the real key there was like Richard Schmid. Now, one thing, let's get straight about the way Richard Schmid would work. He knew exactly what he wanted the color to do on his brush before he ever put the brush stroke down. And you see how different that is from too many who will hunt and peck, hunt and peck. The other thing Richard did, he wouldn't overmix his paint. He would pick the paint up and put it down. Now, I'll show you a little technique. We call it the double-loaded brush. What that means is we pick up at least two colors. We call it double, but sometimes it ends up being triple. But we pick up two colors at once on the brush, and then we stroke them, and I'll show you the result. Now, for example, let's say we've got a dark green here, like that. And we need enough color in the brush so that it goes on the canvas. So if you're one of those stingy painters that puts out little tiny bits of paint, then stop doing that. Put out enough paint to really be able to pick up adequate paint to put on the canvas. But we would load the brush, we'd go into one color, and then we go into another color. And when we go in the other color, we don't mix. We just pull the color into the brush. And sometimes we just pull it into the corner of the brush. Can you sort of see what I've got there? And then when you do that, if you stroke, you see there, you get that sort of what this person, I don't know if it's a she or he, but anyway, where this person called variegated, that's really, we really would just call that a double-loaded stroke. And then even if you pull across it like that, you still have those two colors that will mix together visually, creating a more vibrant color, rather than what a lot of people will do is this, which is not going to do the job. Because this, if you do this sort of thing and you just keep mixing like that, you're going to get something like that, just a single color. So can show you just a little bit about how we could use that, where we're I'll just use, I've got trees here because this person said like yellow into green, and so I'll show you a little bit about how we can make that work. You can give it a try. One thing that you might try is limiting the number of strokes you make. If you start out before you ever start applying paint, sort of study what the color's doing there, especially what the values are doing, and then set yourself a limited number of strokes, and you'll see that will come out a whole lot more lively and vibrant than if you do a whole lot of mixing here and then apply the paint like this. So let's say we're looking at maybe just an area of the tree right there. I find that it works better if you start out with the darker portion first. Now I want to pull that color. Let me get a paper towel here. I want to pull that color out of the brush. That's another thing, controlling the amount of paint that goes on in the brush. So now if this part is very dark, and if I'm out in plain air or whatever, that's very dark, and so I'll pull the darkest version of that particular, that's a green that leans towards yellow in the outside, but in the shadow portion it leans a little bit more towards the blue. So I might pull a little bit of blue there, but I wouldn't necessarily mix it in the brush. Let's go down in here and do that. I would simply stroke it like that, where you don't really see the evidence of the double-loaded brush in those darker colors, but there still is a vibrancy there that you wouldn't get if you mix those thoroughly. So pull that out like that, and then if I go into the lighter color that I have here, now just pull that color into the brush. I'm going to load enough into the brush, and then let's say if I wanted to go up and just pick up a little bit of yellow green. You see, have just a little bit of that in there, and then you can stroke it like that, and you can see a little bit of that yellow green showing through that gives that color a little bit more vibrancy. If I reached over, if I wanted to do a little bit lighter, reach over for a little white, and I might pick up a little bit more of the green. You see, I don't have that very well mixed on the back, but then when I put it down, it ends up being a more vibrant color because it's not thoroughly mixed there. If we wanted to continue that, we could just continue the process. So I'll pick up a little bit green, pick up a little blue, and then I'll pick up maybe a little bit lighter blue here, and let's go over in here, and you can see that you don't see it. It's a very subtle thing. You don't see it thoroughly mixed in there, but by picking up that lighter blue, I've given some value variation into that shadow area. All right, let's do some more. Let's just pick up the green here. Now this time I'm going to pick up just a little bit of white on the corner of the brush, and I'll go in and pick up a little bit of yellow on the other corner of the brush. You see that? Now let's see what happens. If I stroke that, let's go right up in here. If I stroke that, then you see like this, I get that nice little slightly broken color that's not over mixed, and that will help give that variation that we see really often in Schmidt's paintings, but it gives that lively color. The difference is, and I'll show you that too, say if I mix the dickens out of it, let's put a little bit of blue, let's just mix the dickens out of it, and now we've got just a single color in the brush. And if I put this beside it, you see the difference between this looks flat when I just have that thoroughly mixed combination of colors in the brush. This looks more flat. But if I have the double or triple loaded brush where the colors aren't really mixed in the brush, but the brushing process does the mixing, it gives a more vibrant color. And as you continue working that way, of course, knowing what color you want and what value of that color you want is important, but getting used to how you load the brush, controlling what goes in the brush by what you reach for, you see like that, you know that when you put that stroke down, it's going to give you what you need, and just by putting the brush down, stroking, and continuing to move forward, rather than brushing the dickens out of it, you are able then to create that kind of vibrant color. Now, none of us are going to be Richard Schmidts. We don't want to be. But if we apply the principles that he used in mixing color in the way we use our brushes, our paintings can have a vibrant quality that will make people want to continue to look at them, and also will better express what we're really trying to do when we're responding to anything in painting, whether it's nature or whether you're doing a portrait. It doesn't make any difference. What happens with that brush and the way you pick up that color is going to make all the difference in the world. Be sure to view all of our quick tips. And while you're doing so, subscribe to the channel, click on the bell so you'll always get a notice when we produce a new quick tip, which is every week. And if you have a question, leave it in the comments section and we'll make a quick tip for you. Also, take a trip over to DianneMize.com where I have full-length lessons, downloads, DVDs, lots of other stuff there, some free stuff for you. And while you're there, you can subscribe to the newsletter, and that way you'll always be informed every time we do something new.